In discussions today, whether in chat forums or in blogs, people express their ideas. But one thing that we need to understand is very clear. We must learn to embrace diversity of ideas and others' perspectives. Diversity, as we know, is the biggest thing that ever happened to humans. Diversity brings strength. With diverse ideas, the strength is even stronger because everyone's idea can be an opportunity for another person to close any knowledge gap he or she has. In chat forums, the key should always be to leverage on others' ideas to enrich our own repertoire of knowledge. Knowledge should be for development, and everyone's knowledge or idea matters, no matter whether the person is a PhD or not. I use most of the time the example of my mother in the village. Like many mothers across the continent, with nothing, they taught us the values of hard work. They taught us humility. They taught us passion. They taught us respect. Until today, these values have been a game changer in many's life, including me. So what's my point? Simple. Without new ideas, we perish. Without nurturing the mindset to embrace logical reasoning, we will perish in our developmental sojourn. Ideas, not persons, should matter. Not because we like the person who is preferring the ideas, but because the ideas and the approaches they bring can change the way we think. Man's biggest dilemma is to think he or she knows all. We should all cultivate the ability to learn and build on ideas to make a difference. Because absence of these is the reason we see problems not solved, not because they are complex, but because we are fixated on a particular way of thinking and thinking that that's the only alpha and the omega way to do things. But that's wrong. If you look across the entire African continent today, the problems we have today and face in the continent and elsewhere are not exotic. They are solvable. But we cannot use the same achat ways and thinking and expect to see them solve themselves. We need a new kind of thinking, which is not just what has been done and validated, but what has been missing in all the equations that we were taught. Just take a minute and then think of the reasons why most of the times actions fail across the continent. We cannot fully answer this question without looking closely at a key aspect, the approach of actions or projects or programs. This is almost universally characterized by two aspects that I like to say. If you take programs or projects, sometimes they're equated to money, over which any failure can be explained away as a lack of funding, right? Not a failure in human attitudes, which in my view plays a more central role. Second, projects are almost synonymous with government, and by these they are viewed as government goodies for citizens. Citizens have reduced themselves sometimes to passive recipients instead of active participants and devising ideas and trying to do what they can do. Then how can you then solve this without making people know that without them willingly engaging to become the solution providers, we might never really get anything achieved? This is important, and this is common sense, right? Even if we have all the best policies in the world, without a willing and passionate, selfless citizenry, we will not get things going. Don't get me wrong, money is important, but money is part of the equation. All this boils down to a serious misconception of public policy. Policy, which is what leads to project prioritization, is seen as solely a government responsibility alone. That's wrong. That's flat thinking, as I would say. Policies, institutions, regulations, procedures, regardless of how cutting-edge such provisions may be, their intended impact will remain unrealized as long as the critical constituency of implementers, who are the citizens, the ordinary citizen, continue to relegate implementation responsibility to government alone. The primary role of government in any nation on earth is in setting and putting in place a conducive, enabling and regulatory environment, as well as guaranteeing the rule of law. With this, it becomes the role of citizens to leverage whatever policy tools that are available to drive implementation through the exercise of their talent, through the exercise of their skills, their aptitudes, their passion in their various places of work or enterprise, and by this make an impact. These ordinary citizens who sometimes seem to doubt and neglect their responsibility or their ability to drive continental development are the proverbial tortoise shell to Africa's economy sometimes. They are the missing link in making otherwise excellent policies that already exist in the continent work optimally to accelerate globally competitive continental progress. So what's the point? The point is you and me matter in taking action, regardless of how small it is, before we blame. The role of government is to create an enabling environment. But sometimes that enabling environment needs to be tapped by us to force them to do more. Not only in talking, but in action. Positive action that touches people's lives positively. Unless we do this, we can talk, we can complain, and nothing will change. But when we embrace transformational development and embrace ideas and see things through a different lens, we can start to reshape developmental transformation in a way that touches people's lives and create more enabling environment that works for everyone for the collective benefit of all. Thank you.